throwing things at you, Randy.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Board of Public Works meeting of October 21st to order. We'll start off with a roll call.
Alderman Perkins.
No,
Alderman Lewis. Alderman Marshall. Alderman Grotti. Alderman Rapella. Alderman Nichols. Alderman Eisenach. Alderman Sevenik.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you for that, Clerk. We have comments. I'm sure seeing all the audience members are on their phones, so they're not interested in speaking at this time. So we'll move forward to the minutes of the Board of Public Works. I'd entertain a motion. Alderman Rapella.
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Public Works minutes dated October 7th, 10/7/24.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by Alderman Ted Grotti. Any changes or additions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. Moving on from that, we have discussion and action items. The first item is a payment to Northeast Asphalt. Is there a motion? Alderman Rapella.
Thank you very much, Alderman Sevenik. I'll make a motion to accept payment for the Northeast Asphalt Incorporated Contract Unit Number 2024-03. This is for the Jefferson Park improvements at a cost of $83,070.85. This is payment number 3.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by Alderman Ted Grotti. You want to address this? Sure. I was going to give it to Megan, but does it work or not? Then that's all right. So how far are we in progress on this? Can somebody grab that mic for them? Thank you, Tom.
Randy will get it.
Tom's got it. What are we? Musical chairs here.
Thanks, Tom.
Really important now.
Yeah, you
Looks like a news conference over there now.
So at Jefferson Park right now, they did pave probably 3/4 of the trail today. They will be pouring curb and gutter later this week. Then obviously asphalt and stuff to follow. They are working on the baseball field. They're going to start hauling in the infield mix and things of that nature. Then terrace restoration and stuff like that to follow.
Okay, so as far as plantings and things like that, are we waiting till spring on all that? Or
the baseball field, the hope is to get some grass planted in that. The rest of the site, the completion date for the landscaping is next summer, May or June, maybe the 1st of June. I don't recall off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions from the committee? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you, Clerk. Moving on then, we have another payment to MCCI Incorporated. Is there a motion? Alderman Rapella.
Thank you very much, Alderman Sevenik. I'll make a motion for payment for MCC Incorporated Contract Unit 2024-05, and this is for new street construction in the amount of $314,202.11, and this is payment number 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Nichols. Corey, do you want to address this?
Sure, thank you. This is the new curb and gutter streets, the subdivisions. The work has been completed. There will be an additional payment to, at that time, hopefully close out the contract. But at this point, everything except for one small piece of curb and gutter is done out there. Maybe a couple punch list items.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions from the committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to a roll call.
Motion carries 8-0.
All right, moving on to our favorite topic, change order. There is a request for a change order to Yankee General Contractors. Is there a motion? Alderman Rappella.
Thank you very much, Alderman Sevenick. There's a motion to accept the change order for Yankee General Contractors Incorporated, Contract Unit 2024-08, and it's in regards to the Water Street Corridor reconstruction. We are adding $79,232.23. This is change order number 2.
Deputy Director, this is a large change order, and from what I understand, I went out there today, the work's already been done. So you want to explain all that?
Correct. So with the coping on top of the wall, the engineer came back to us and said that their original design, I guess for the lack of a better word, was flawed. The coping potentially could push off the top of the wall. So what this did is this added an additional piece of concrete off the backside of the original coping to help stabilize that coping on top of the wall. I've been in discussions with them that I don't necessarily agree with the additional design, or I questioned their additional design on that. So I'm still in discussions with them as far as trying to recoup some of these costs for this.
So most likely the design itself was off, and that the design should have reflected what's out there now.
Correct. So
It does look nice.
There's probably a number of different ways that it could be done. I continually ask them to revise it. So there's a portion of the coping that has railing on it. I believe that railing is going to be roughly 42 inches tall. Obviously, with that railing, there's the potential for that coping to push over if there's forces applied to the railing. There's a lot of that wall where there's probably 50% of that coping or that wall that doesn't have railing. I question why the significant change, and they still felt that there would be forces against that coping that could potentially push the wall off. I did speak with one of the contractor's engineers that they use in different projects. I did have a conversation with them. He did raise some questions, but the way the wall and everything was built or designed is that the design, our specifications, our plans put together a wall. And then it was the contractor's responsibility to hire an engineer to design that style of wall for that area. They did that. The coping then is designed by our engineer, so he's trying to separate his design from the wall design, and they're not tied together. And they're viewing them as two separate entities. So our design engineer feels that the coping needs to stand alone and not tip off. So that's where,
Well, I
again,
hope Public Works gets this settled or works on some type of settlement. This is, I do realize we did receive $2,074,000 from the state of Wisconsin, but we're still dumping, I shouldn't say dumping, but we're still applying quite a bit ourselves, almost as much.
Correct.
So we'll obviously come back to this, hopefully, at some point. Any further questions? Alderman Rappella.
Corey, when I drove over on the other side, on the south side, over by Transcontinental, the wall over by Van Lynn's, I'll use that as a reference point, where Wenzel's had his plastering place, that seemed to be very flat. And then when you go down by the R&R bar, it made a big, huge dip, and it just seems the wall isn't the same height as it is by
It's
Van
not.
Lynn's. It's not. Why? Explain that.
so the intent was to get the wall as close to the water as possible throughout the corridor. By Van Lynn's or on that end by the railroad tracks, there's more space between the wall and the road. So the wall can be lowered and everything else can be sloped down to the wall. Previously, that was all flat there, so in that area, it was lower to the water anyways, but the area as you go towards Taco Street and that, once you get to High Street, the road and the wall come really close together. So we don't have a lot of separation between the wall and the back of curb. So then we had to raise the trail that goes along that edge and push the trail tight to the wall, which required us to put the railing in that first 600-ish feet.
So there won't be a railing over by Van Lynn's, kind of?
Correct.
But the railing will be closer to Taco
From
Street and Iron
roughly, from roughly High Street to Taco Street, there will be a railing.
Understood.
The area where it dips down really low near Taco Street, there's then a set of stairs that takes you back up to the elevation of Taco Street. There's I don't know if I want to call it a plaza, or there's a circular like patio type area there, similar to maybe off of the end of Mill Street.
Okay.
That was in part of that design.
Thank you very
That's
much.
why that's down near the water's edge.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any further questions? I got a second. Okay. So, did you have anything else? There wasn't? Oh,
Second.
there's my second. Second by Alderman Perkins then. So I thought Tom did for some reason, but all right. Thank you, Alderman Nichols. So any further questions about the Water Street project at this point pertaining to this payment? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you for that, Clerk. Moving on, we have a payment. Alderman Rapella.
Thank you very much, Alderman Sevenick. Accept payment for the Yankee General Contractors Incorporated Contract Unit 2024-08 Water Street Corridor Reconstruction in the amount of $315,218.54. This is payment number 7.
Is there a second? Second by Alderman Marshall. Deputy Director, I noticed a lot of work at the far end, closer to the land that we recently purchased, the house there.
Yep.
Can you maybe address some of that, and then along with this payment?
Yep. So currently, right now, all of the work is complete, short of the railing with the wall. The cofferdam's been removed. They have the gravel in for the trail from the end of Broad Street, the existing trestle trail end. They have that into, I believe, past Valley Marine. I don't know if they're quite to the railroad tracks yet with that. They're currently working on the sidewalk on the north side, getting that prepped. I believe the concrete flat crews are coming in later this week to start with the driveway aprons and the sidewalk on that side. They will then continue with the trail on the south side. I believe next week the curb and gutter is scheduled to be poured on the south side. They couldn't pour that prior to removing the cofferdam because of the equipment that needed to get in there. So the curb and gutter should get poured. And it should really start to come together pretty soon here.
Well, we're close to November here, so hopefully a lot of things will happen over the next couple weeks here. Any further questions from the committee? Motion's been made and seconded. We'll take a roll call.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you, clerk. Seeing we have no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Nichols. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Lewis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Have a good evening.